I almost didn't go. The email sat in my inbox for 11 days before I opened it. Millbrook Academy 10-year reunion, Saturday, September 7th, the Ashford Grand Hotel, Nashville. I read it at my desk on a Tuesday morning, green tea going cold beside me, 3 monitors glowing with deal memos and acquisition models that represented decisions worth more money than most people in that ballroom would ever touch in a lifetime combined. And I thought, why would I go back? My name is Callaway Voss. I'm 32. I live in a quiet townhouse outside of Nashville with a terrace garden I never have enough time for, and I run a private holding company called Voss Meridian Partners. We manage just under $450 million in assets across 7 portfolio companies, 2 regional staffing networks, a healthcare services firm, a mid-size logistics company, a commercial real estate portfolio, and a marketing and branding agency called Larkspur Creative Group. You won't find my name on Forbes lists. That's intentional. The people I went to Millbrook Academy with don't know any of that. The last thing most of them knew about Callaway Voss was that she withdrew from the University of Georgia after her sophomore year, came home, and quietly vanished from every social circle that had once included her. That was the story. That was the version that circulated through group chats and mutual friends until it became accepted fact. She couldn't handle it. She dropped out. She gave up. I never corrected it. I had work to do. The only reason I agreed to go was because of my oldest friend, Fernsby Walsh. Fern, she's a corporate attorney now, sharp as a letter opener, with a laugh that makes strangers feel like they've known her for years. She called me directly, which she knows is the only way to reach me. "Cal," she said, "you have to come. I cannot walk into that room alone." "You walk into federal depositions alone," I said. "That's different. Those people don't know what I looked like at 16. I laughed, and that was enough. So I said yes. I bought a dress I wouldn't normally wear, deep charcoal, tailored, nothing flashy. I booked a car service. I told myself I'd stay 2 hours, be polite, catch up with Fern, and leave before the DJ started playing throwback songs. I had no plan for what was coming. But then again, I never needed one. The Ashford Grand was the kind of hotel that tried too hard. Gold leaf fixtures, an atrium ceiling, staff in burgundy vests. The kind of place designed to impress people who needed to feel impressed. The ballroom had been decorated with banners and class photos and small round tables with centerpieces that spelled out Class of 2015 in silver block letters. There were maybe 90 people milling around when I arrived. Name tags, open bar, the soft, competitive hum of adults performing the best versions of themselves. Fern found me within 30 seconds. She looked stunning in a navy blazer and wide-leg trousers, champagne already in hand. "You came," she said, and hugged me hard. "Don't make it a thing," I said. She laughed. "Too late. Now brace yourself. Decker's here." I didn't react. I just reached past her toward the bar. Decker Halls, of course. Some people arrive at their 10-year reunion carrying 10 years of growth. They're softer, more grounded, genuinely curious about the people around them. And then there are people like Decker Halls, who arrive carrying the exact same ego they had at 17, just more expensively dressed. Decker had been the kind of boy in high school who categorized people quickly and ruthlessly, athlete or not, smart or not, worth knowing or not. I had fallen cleanly into the not worth knowing column by junior year, after I started asking questions in AP economics that made the teacher stop and think, and Decker decided that was annoying. He was in finance now, associate director at a regional investment bank called Crestwood Capital Advisors, based out of Atlanta. He had the firm's name in his Instagram bio. He'd been posting about it for 2 years. He spotted me from across the room within minutes. "Callaway Voss." He said my name the way people say, "Well, well, well." Slow. Deliberate. "Didn't think you'd show." Here I am, I said. He had 2 people with him, Royce Tanner, who'd been student body president and now worked in commercial real estate, and a colleague from Crestwood named Bram, who carried himself with the careful confidence of someone still deciding what kind of person to become. "So, what are you doing these days?" Royce asked. He meant it genuinely, I think. "I work in finance," I said. "Oh yeah? Where?" Bram asked. "Private side, small firm." Decker's smile widened. "Good for you. Getting your footing?" I looked at him for a moment. Something like that. Within an hour, I understood the unofficial structure of the evening. There was a loose hierarchy assembling itself in real time, the way it always does at these things. People sorting themselves by career prestige, income signals, and LinkedIn title. It wasn't entirely malicious. Most of it was just anxiety dressed up as confidence. But the loudest voice in the sorting process was Decker's. He had a talent for steering conversations so that the spotlight moved naturally to him. He'd ask someone what they were doing, listen for about 10 seconds, and then bridge back to himself. "Oh, that's great. Yeah, we're seeing something similar in the M&A space, actually, which has been insane for us this year." By the time the seated portion of the evening began, his table had become the unofficial gathering point for people who needed to be seen succeeding. Royce was there. Bram, a woman named Sidel Okafor, valedictorian, now a pediatric surgeon, who was the only person at that table who'd earned her seat without announcing it. A man named Crispin Lau, who'd done something in tech consulting and kept checking his phone. And Fern, who'd drifted over because she knew everyone. I sat beside Fern. I wasn't trying to be part of any table hierarchy. I just wanted to be near the one person in the room who didn't exhaust me. It was Crispin who asked the question that started it. "Didn't you go to UGA?" he said, looking at me. Not cruel, just making conversation. "For 2 years," I said. Right. And then you transferred?" "I left," I said simply. The table shifted. You could feel it, that almost imperceptible social recalibration. "Left as in," Decker said. "As in, I withdrew, sophomore year." A beat of silence. "Huh." Decker leaned back in his chair, turning his champagne glass slowly by the stem. "So you never finished?" "No," I said. I held his gaze. I wasn't embarrassed. I was curious to see where he'd take it. He smiled. Well, it takes guts, I guess. Knowing when something isn't working." It wasn't a compliment. He made sure of that with the pause before guts. Sidel glanced at him briefly, then looked back at me with an expression that said, "I see him." "So what did you end up doing?" Royce asked. "I started a company," I said. "Doing what?" Bram asked. "Acquisitions mostly. We buy companies, restructure, sometimes hold them long-term." Decker tilted his head. "Like a small fund?" "A holding company," I said. "Private equity structure." "What size?" I took a sip of water. "Mid-market." "Mid-market meaning?" "Meaning we're not small," I said. He laughed, not unkindly, but with that particular flavor of condescension that comes from someone who genuinely believes they outrank you. "That's cool, Cal. Building something from scratch with no degree? That's a hustle story." Hustle story, as though what I'd built was a food truck. Fern, beside me, was very still. She knew. She'd known for years what I'd built, and she'd also known, without my ever asking, to let me tell it in my own time. "Crestwood must be keeping you busy," I said, pivoting cleanly to Decker. His chest visibly lifted. "Insane year. We closed 4 deals in Q3 alone. The MD has basically handed me the middle market pipeline." He glanced at Bram. We're probably looking at VP by Q1, right? Bram nodded. Solid trajectory. I nodded too. I didn't say anything else. Not yet. The moment came about 40 minutes later, and I didn't manufacture it. It arrived the way the truth usually does, quietly, through a door someone else opened. A woman named Tova Rice, who'd been in my junior year English class, came over to say hello. We'd been talking warmly for a few minutes when she mentioned her husband worked in marketing. He's at an agency in Nashville, she said. Larkspur Creative. Brand campaigns mostly. He loves it. I kept my expression neutral. I know Larkspur, I said. Small world, she laughed. It is a small world. Decker had drifted back within earshot. I don't think he meant to. He was refilling his drink at the nearby service station, but he heard the name. Larkspur Creative, he said, turning around. Funny, Crestwood almost advised on an acquisition of them 2 years ago. Fell through. The holding company that owns them doesn't take outside advisory. He said it with a trace of old irritation, like a door that had been closed in his face. I set down my glass. Voss Meridian acquired Larkspur in 2021, I said. We don't use outside advisory on internal restructuring. It creates misaligned incentives. Silence. Not dramatic silence, just the sudden, specific stillness of a conversation when understanding moves faster than sound. Decker stared at me. I'm sorry. What? Larkspur Creative Group, I said. We've owned it for 3 years. I sit on the board. We retained the founding partners and restructured the leadership team in year 2. I paused. The deck Crestwood sent over? I remember it. The valuation methodology was aggressive on the EBITDA multiples. His mouth opened, then closed. Bram was looking between us, rapidly recalculating. Royce had gone very quiet. Crispin had put his phone down for the first time all night. Voss Meridian, Decker said slowly. That's your firm? That's my firm, I said. You said mid-market. I did. Voss Meridian manages... He was pulling at threads, trying to place the name, the number, the shape of the thing he dismissed an hour ago as a hustle story. Just under 450, I said. Assets under management. $450 million, he said, flatly, like he was reading the number off a wall he'd just walked into. Give or take, I said. A long moment passed. Sidel, across the table, was watching with quiet, focused attention, the same expression, I imagined, she used when a diagnosis confirmed what she already suspected. Fern studied her champagne glass with great serenity. Then Decker did something I hadn't expected. He laughed. It started as a short, uncomfortable sound, and then it became something more real, more surrendered. The laugh of a man who'd just found out the building he thought he owned was actually on someone else's land. I had no idea, he said. And for the first time all evening, it was just a sentence. No architecture, no performance. Most people don't, I said. I don't advertise. He nodded slowly. The Crestwood deck, he said, quieter now. That was a 2-year-old model. We didn't have the right read on the seller side. You didn't, I agreed. But whoever built the comp set had decent instincts. The execution was the issue. He looked at me for a long moment. I watched him decide something. Watched the old machinery of who he'd always been grind briefly against something harder, something real. Who advises you on acquisitions? He asked. Professionally, genuinely. Mostly in-house, I said. We bring in specialists for specific sectors. He nodded, said nothing else, picked up his drink and looked at the middle distance. I didn't gloat. I didn't let the moment stretch for cruelty's sake. I didn't need to. Because that's the thing about a slow burn life. You don't win the moment. You win the architecture. You build something so quietly and so well that when the lights finally come on, there's nothing left to argue with. Just the shape of what you made, standing there in plain sight. Fern walked me to my car at the end of the night. We stood in the hotel's side parking lot, cool September air rolling in off the hills, and she shook her head slowly. "You knew Larkspur was going to come up," she said. "I didn't know," I said, "but I wasn't surprised." She laughed, that full, real laugh of hers. "He pitched your own company back to you." "He pitched my company to me," I agreed. "And you just sat there and let him." "He wasn't ready to hear it earlier," I said. "And I wasn't there to teach him." She looked at me for a moment, and her expression shifted into something softer. "You could have corrected them from the start, at dinner, saved yourself the whole thing." "I know," I said. "Why didn't you?" I thought about it honestly. "Because I didn't leave Georgia to prove anything to a room," I said. "I left because I had work to do, and the work proved itself." She was quiet for a moment. Then she nodded, slowly, the way she nods when something lands cleanly. I got in the car. The driver pulled out onto the main road, and Nashville's skyline filled the window, lit up and unhurried at this hour, indifferent and beautiful. I thought about the 20-year-old version of myself who'd walked away from a university that didn't fit the direction I could already see ahead of me, who'd come home and built something in the unglamorous, grinding, patient dark, who'd never needed the credential because she'd been too busy building the thing the credential was supposed to represent. I thought about Decker Halls, going into Crestwood Capital Advisors on Monday morning, working toward a VP title he'd been promised by Q1. Doing solid work, probably. Genuinely talented, even, in the narrow lane he'd chosen. I thought about the fact that Crestwood's parent company had been on our acquisition radar for 14 months. I didn't do anything with that thought, but I didn't let it go entirely either. Some things don't need to be said out loud. They just need to be true. Silence isn't weakness. It's controlled storage of power. Every word you don't say forces the other person to guess, and they'll almost always guess too small. Calloway never corrected Decker's assumptions. She just waited, and the truth landed harder because of it.